Hey there everyone, I am going to be doing a series of videos over the next several weeks talking about what I believe to be some of the biggest burnout misconceptions. And today what we're going to be talking about is the fact that a lot of people think that more sleep and more time off are going to help them solve their burnout. I've kind of snarkily, that's not a word, but whatever, posted before about the fact that burnout doesn't fix itself after a weekend off. And it's kind of the same thing when it comes to sleep and vacations. Burnout isn't necessarily going to fix itself after, taking a weekend and really focusing on catching up on sleep, or even taking a week off from work per se, especially if you're the kind of person that tends to work your way through your vacations. It is definitely not going to be a long-term solution to your burnout. But more so than anything, burnout doesn't necessarily have to do with physical exhaustion. Not always. There is an aspect of burnout or a type of burnout that has to do with physical burnout and being exhausted. Yeah, sleep and taking time off might very well help with that particular type of burnout, but there are so many other types of burnout for which sleeping and time off don't really do anything. You can burn out from being bored. You can burn out from not being challenged enough in your day-to-day life or in your career. Sleeping and time off, they're really not going to do anything for that particular type of burnout. You can burn out from emotional components like a lack of support in your career. Sleep and time off aren't going to do anything if you're not necessarily being supported by your manager. You don't have proper resources to be able to do your job. You can burn out because of a values disconnect. One of my favorite things to do with several of my clients is to do values work, help them figure out what their values are so they can spend their day-to-day lives living in more alignment with those values. If you're not, that can lead you to emotionally burn out. You can burn out because of just having a lack of emotional support in general. Perhaps you don't have great habits around supporting some of the more negative emotions we experience, like sadness or anger. Perhaps you're not doing things enough like journaling or going to therapy or just having a good vent session with a friend. All of these things are aspects of burnout and very common things that lead people to burnout that have absolutely nothing to do with sleep and time off. What we can do for some of these different types of burnout is if you are struggling with boredom and the boredom aspect of burnout, you can look for places in your life to create more challenge. Perhaps if it's work related, learning a new skill at work, or if it's personal related, trying out that hobby that you've always wanted to try. I took up sketching and watercoloring over the course of quarantine because I just needed something new and something different. That can help. If you're finding that you have a lack of support in your career, if it's social support, seeking out organizations or, time spent after hours with friends or coworkers can help. Or if it is a lack of resources, purely communicating that to your manager, speaking to other peers, or looking for those resources online that you may not be getting might be the help you need. If we're talking about a values disconnect, shameless plug, I actually have a values mini course where I walk you through your entire process for figuring out your values. But frankly, just doing some Google searching and looking for things that people have posted online, I actually walk through a lot of the process in a free podcast that I have on my website for figuring out what your values are. And then lastly, if you're not getting that emotional support, seeking out therapy, trying journaling, or just making sure you set aside time consistently to make sure that you are getting that emotional connection you need so that you don't feel so lonely, so that you don't feel so disconnected or so lost. All of those things are things that help with burnout that have nothing to do with sleep and nothing to do with taking time off. So that is one of the biggest misconceptions I see about burnout, is that so many people think that it can simply be fixed by sleeping more and taking time off. But go ahead and try some of the other things in this video to help support you with those other aspects of burnout. I'll be back next week with one of my other common burnout misconceptions that I see, but I hope you got a lot out of this video. I'll talk to you soon.